Hey, this is Tara Pritchett, confidence coach for women, and I'm excited because I haven't been on here in a while. So I'm happy to be back for today with Tuesdays with Tara. And lately, I have been focusing on this idea of worthiness just because a lot of women that I've been talking to, I can just feel it intuitively. I can just feel it in my spirit that women are struggling with worthiness, that women are struggling with wholeness. And it's something that I wanted to address. It's something I wanted to focus on, especially since we are approaching the anniversary. My baby, Born Fierce, How to Unleash the Confident Woman Within, is turning 1 year old in just a couple of days. I'm excited. Almost a year ago, I finally self-published this once I got out of my own way. Once I stopped feeling like I wasn't worthy or I was doubting myself that it was going to be whack and wasn't nobody going to read it. And I put it out, and it has honestly completely changed my life. And it took a lot of courage. It took a lot of energy and a lot of shifting, healing, evolving, and growing for me to get to the point where I felt as though it was okay to put this out there for people to read. So if you don't have your copy, I highly encourage you not just to get the ebook, but to order the paperback. Which is available for $15 as of now. There will be a sale going on starting on April 16th that week for as many people as possible to get the ebook version of it if you don't already have a copy. If you have a copy, please feel free to snap a picture on your tablet, on your phone with it, or your paperback, and make sure you post it. I will be sending out something special for any new ladies who are sharing their pictures or their experience with Born Fierce. So more information on that is to come. But like I said, we're going to focus today on worthiness, right? Because it is a crucial piece that as women is something that we really have to master. So Lady O, aka Oprah, back in the day, when she used to have the Oprah show, right? And I was reading an article a couple years ago, and I believe I have this in my book in some capacity. But what she realized, right, because she did all these interviews, after she did a number of different interviews, what she came to realize and what she came to note, and after she had all types of people coming through her couch, people who have been, sexually assaulted, people who have done amazing things for society, people who have done evil things in society. She sat down with everybody. And the common thread that she realized through all of it is that so many people who would come on her couch, whether they had a lot of good in them, a lot of evil or whatever, that they struggled with unworthiness, where they didn't think they deserved things, right? Even if their life was going well, they couldn't believe they had it because they didn't think they were worthy of it. Because so many of us live in a place of lack. We live in a place where we never have really felt worthy, right? And a lot of that kind of starts when you're younger, depending on your development, your growth, the type of love and nurturing you received, the type of family support system you had or did not have, right? It usually starts back then. And you start to kind of form your beliefs about, who you are, about whether or not you're being seen and heard. I saw something recently on Facebook where somebody posted that you got to be careful about who you're getting in relationships with, because so many people as children, they weren't loved and supported. They were tolerated, as in like their parents would sit them in front of the cartoons and go do their own thing, but they weren't giving them attention. And then those people grow up, and then we want them to love us and give us attention and all this stuff. But they can't even give us what nobody ever gave them, right? Hopefully that makes sense, right? Because so many people are used to just being tolerated, but not actually getting the love that they actually desire. And then we go out and we look for things all over the place. And then we have these internalized beliefs about ourselves that do not feel good when they come up, or when somebody triggers some nasty stuff. That stuff just does not feel good all up in here. So if you are somebody, if you're somebody who feels as though worthiness is something that you need to work on, if wholeness is something that you still feel like you're working on, if getting to know yourself better is still something you're focused on, then I highly encourage you, obviously, to watch this whole video. But I highly encourage you to get my book, Born Fierce, How to Unleash the Confident Woman Within, on Amazon if you haven't already, because it's basically a step-by-step breakdown of how you can begin that process beyond just obviously partaking in this video. So the first way, right, and I want to focus on why you matter, and I think that it's important to remind yourself of that on a day-by-day basis. You know, I matter, right? And even knowing that God knows that you matter, and even know that He loves you, and even knowing that you love yourself, right? Even if you got to wake up every day and say, I love you. I had a season where I went through a whole little self-love season. And every day when I wake up, I would be like, you know what? I love you, right? Like, I love you so much. But I said it every single day because the repetition and the recycling of it is what really made me kind of sit in that, right? Which is another way that I'm able to position myself as a confident woman or as a powerful woman. So when it comes to knowing that you matter, when it comes to feeling more worthy, not even just feeling more worthy, but actually just being more worthy, because worthiness is not about all the things that you do. It's not about all the awards you get. It's not about the husband you get by, 30. It's not about all the kids that you have. It's not about all the things that happen at work. It's really about who you be and who you are as a woman, right? And you being able to love the good parts of you and the parts of you that are not so good when you make a mistake, right? Which can be very difficult for you to work through, but that goes back to your worthiness, right? It's about who you are being, not about what you do or what you don't do, right? So let's get into the first way that you can get into a place where you feel more worthy, and that is doing meaningful work. As in, you are walking in purpose, is the very first thing you can do in order to ensure that you feel more worthy as a woman, right? Because purpose is always connected back to why you are here and who you are, right? So God brought you here for a certain reason, right? He knew you before you were in your mother's womb. So He had a purpose for you. He had a vision for you before anybody else out here had an opinion about who you are and what you can do, or you had a fear about why you can't step out and do this or why you can't step out and do that. When you know your purpose and you're walking in it, it automatically elevates you to a place of worthiness, right? Because now you're starting to see your worth. You're starting to see your value. And when you start helping other people in the process of purpose, because typically our purpose, we're here to serve in some capacity, and we serve people in whatever roles based on the gifts and talents that we have. And once we see that what we do helps other people and it serves other people, that brings that confidence up a notch each time. It elevates your worth and value each time. And the more you're working in purpose, the better that you're going to get at your purpose, but also the more money you can make, the better your lifestyle should eventually be, because you can charge at different levels, or people are going to start noticing you. And again, it automatically begins to raise your worth and your value up when you are doing meaningful work. And if that is something that you're struggling with, then that means it's time for you to invest the time, money, or energy into learning how to discover your purpose, or learning how to step fully into your purpose, because you know that there's something special about you, but you don't know how to fully activate it or how to pull it out. Then it's time that you move to the next level, which would mean getting off of these videos and going somewhere and working with somebody, or reading something, or going through some program that can help you elevate to that next level of purpose, right? So here's the number 2 thing that you can do so that you can feel more worthy. And number 2 thing that you can do is you need to get to know yourself better. Right? So many women come to me and say, I really think it's time for me to get to know me. And these people will be 42, they'll be 53, right? So they've been living a long time. They older than me, right? And some people are younger, but it's usually, I honestly feel like usually it's the older women I talk to oftentimes, but we all consider to get to know ourselves better. But when you really know yourself, your likes, your dislikes, if you're an introvert, if you're an extrovert, you know your hair texture, your body type, right? You got a pear shape, you got an apple shape. When you have that type of awareness about you, it brings a certain level of confidence to you, which brings to you a different level of worthiness and a different level of value, right? Because if I know my body shape and I know what works for me, and then I'm going to buy appropriate clothes and I'm going to dress myself a certain way, that is going to exude the fact that I am a magnetic, worthy, and confident woman who knows how to dress myself, right? I'm not going to wear something that's somebody with a different body shape or something that's not in alignment with the fullness of who I am as a valuable woman. I'm not going to put that on because that doesn't connect, or that doesn't make sense, or that means that I'm out of alignment. That makes sense. So getting to know yourself better is key. And here's the good part. Inside of, if you get your copy of this, even the ebook, there's a link in here to access the free resources. One of the free resources is a free workbook that goes along with this that has a ton of different assignments in there and questions in there that you basically use to get to know yourself better, right? That's even you. There's a whole section on just your parents. What did you learn from your mother and father? Because they make up who you are, even if they did not raise you, even if you grew up in a foster home, even if you grew up with your grandmom, even if you and your mom grew up in the same house, there are still things you might not even have thought about or reflected about that connect to who you are as a woman, and that you should know as a woman. So getting to know yourself better is key. I know once I began to learn, that I'm an introvert, especially when I learned that I was highly sensitive or that I was empathic, and I don't know if you know what that is. Some of my clients are as well. That shift my perception of myself, because when I was younger and I was an introvert and I was kind of more quiet into myself, I always, I guess, thought, okay, I'm a nerd or I'm kind of weird, but really I just have different qualities, and here's why. Because we live in an extrovert world. So when I realized that I'm an introvert, I knew how to now, nurture that. I know how to be okay with that, and I'm confident in that. So when other people are like, oh, I want to be out at the club and doing that, that doesn't work for me. Or I might be there for a short period of time, but that doesn't work for me. Now I know why, right? In the past, I would feel bad about it. Like, oh, I'm a little bit different. I'd rather be reading a book, and people would kind of think, oh, she's a Debbie Downer, this and that. But no, it's really, I have to, find my people. Again, once you get to know yourself better, you're going to make different decisions. You're going to attract different people. You're going to want to be around different people that vibe at your level. So for me, that also meant finding people who are in alignment with that, who are on the same level as me spiritually, who also don't want to go to the club. My best friend in college, he was a guy, but some of our other friends, I felt like they always wanted to go out and go to parties, so they built their own little friend squad with those people. Meanwhile, me and him kind of built our own separate friendship and then relationship and all that kind of stuff, because we had different interests, but we knew ourselves. And even though we were different from the typical college crowd of wanting to go out and drink, that really was not us. And we always knew it was not us. And even to this day, we know it's not us. And now we're both speakers and we're both authors, and our other friends are still doing well. But it's like we always knew that we were a little bit different, but we knew ourselves, and we had enough sense to recognize that we needed to stick together because we were on the same path. But had we not known ourselves, then we might have went in that other direction, and we could have ended up somewhere we didn't want to be. So that's why it's important to know yourself and know the different facets of your personality. Even when we were in college, when I was a resident assistant, we always had to do personality tests and evaluating this about yourself. And I was just talking to one of my clients last night who said she wants to do that, and part of her own business is doing, personality tests and knowing, what makes you tick, knowing about your emotions. So knowing about yourself is super duper important. It'll come in handy with your purpose. It will come in handy with your relationships. The more you can know and understand about yourself, the better. That's all I can say. I can't stress it enough. For anybody that is just joining, we're talking about 5 ways to feel more worthy. And the first one was to do meaningful work. So when you're walking in purpose, your value automatically begins to go up. All right, because God, his gift to you is your purpose. Your gift back to him is what you do with it. So automatically, once you're giving back, you are now obviously elevating worth. The second thing I mentioned is that you have to learn how to get to know yourself better. You should know yourself very well. Very well, right? And things are always going to come up that you're always going to be learning new things about yourself, right? I know I was just journaling about that the other day. Because I felt like I was being triggered negatively, and I felt myself kind of and at people. And I had to just take a step back and say, wait, hold up, what's going on? Because that's something I kind of used to do, but it's something I've also evolved. But why is that coming up again, right? That's what I mean by knowing yourself. You will know yourself to know, wait, hold up, something else is happening. Something else is going on. Like, what's going on here? But that means you have to obviously know yourself and be able to tap into that during that time, which does take a little bit of time to learn, but once you do, it will be second nature to you. The third thing you can do to feel more worthy, and not just feel, but be more worthy, is to make sure you are taking care of yourself, right? And I know I've talked about this in other videos, but I say it all the time. And I talk to some of y'all and y'all still be like, well, I ain't take care of myself in a week. I haven't, taken myself on a date in 2 years. I still haven't done this. I still haven't read that book. I still haven't went through this program. Okay. So let's take a pause and we'll rewind back, right? When you're really committed to something, you put in the time and the energy. So part of feeling worthy is making those commitments to yourself. And say you sign up for a program, but you only do, it's 5 modules, you only do 2 modules, right? But you invested it and that was a commitment to yourself. Boom, right there. It's almost like you have, I guess, not stay committed to the goal that you have set out for yourself. So that is an issue, right? Because part of taking care of yourself is being consistent. Part of taking care of yourself is being committed to the cause. That means if there's something for you that's going to nurture you, that's something you should be doing every single day, so that it is putting you in the right alignment with what it is that you actually want to manifest and that you actually want to come into your life. So taking care of yourself, and I don't just mean just getting your nails done, and getting your hair done. I mean taking care of yourself as in, tending to your emotions. I mean scheduling the right doctor's appointments. That ain't my strong point. So right now I'm talking to myself in a way. But that's a part of taking care of yourself, right? I'm talking about eating the right foods, right? I'm talking about, if you notice a certain pattern, you keep attracting the same guy, taking care of yourself would be, okay, now I need to take a step back. Now I need to figure out, why is this pattern showing up? That's what I mean about taking care of yourself. And when you start to move into a position where you're like, wait, something's not right, I need to take care of myself, or I need to nurture myself, I need to water my garden because something's not right here, then automatically you're becoming more worthy, because how you treat you is how other people are going to treat you. If you treat yourself very well, and people can feel that, they can feel your vibe, even if you look in a hot mess one day, but you treat yourself well, you nurture yourself, people can feel, even guys can feel that vibe. And that's why some guys might not even approach you, because they already know that she at a different level, or she's going to require something more of me than I can really give her. Now there are some bums that are still going to approach anyway, because they just think that they can finesse the situation, and she got that vibe, but I'm gonna talk her. And there are people that can sweet talk you and all that. Absolutely. That's everywhere. That's every age, everywhere you go. Right. But the point is, taking care of yourself is key, because you cannot give to everyone else to the level you want until you take care of yourself. Right. It's part of the reason why I haven't been on, live as much, right? Because I know I expended a lot of energy during our last challenge. And because I do meaningful work and I know myself, I know that I have to take care of myself. So usually after I do a challenge or a launch, I have learned that usually at least the week after, I have to take time for myself and to recover myself. And also, I really honestly just don't have the time, because my client load has increased, because I'm working on my first TED Talk, because I'm creating a senior research paper, because I'm being a person in life. So I honestly also, my time has become more limited, but I also, part of that is taking care of myself and not overextending, because in the past, I would basically almost be dead out here trying to go live every day, trying to do this, trying to do their paper, trying to grade, trying to do this talk and all that. And then I would be upset. I would be frustrated because I'm giving and all that. And it's like, okay, when am I going to take care of myself and nurture myself? So again, it's about learning yourself and knowing what it is that you need, so that you're moisturized, you're nurtured, you're tended to, you're healthy, you're whole, and all of that good stuff, right? That's important. And when you take care of you, your worthiness goes up. Your value goes up that much more, right? Because you're able to give at a higher level, because you're not depleted at the end of the day. Your water hasn't run out. You're not a little dry. Well, right? Because you want to get from the overflow, not from you all like dried up and you like, okay, I'm gonna show up, but I don't really feel like it, right? Nobody wants that energy in their atmosphere. So it's important that you stay watered, that you stay nurtured, that you stay tending to yourself. Okay. Fourth thing that you can do in order for you to feel more worthy is to start acknowledging acknowledging, and feeling your negative emotions. Start acknowledging and feeling them, right? So many of my clients will come to me and say, I've never talked to anybody about this, and it's something would have happened 10 years ago, or they're still stuck on that one guy. And you know why? Because your emotions are so attached to it. And we're not allowing ourselves time to grieve. Like, say we had a breakup, we're not allowing ourselves time to grieve it and to cry. Like, if somebody passes away, we have the time to grieve and to mourn. When we're ending relationships, or we're moving to new jobs, or you just had a baby, or even if you just get married, I think a lot of us underestimate transitions. When you're in a season of transition, even though getting married is a beautiful thing, having a baby is a beautiful thing, there's a transition from you now being up every single all hours of the night with a new person looking at you. There's a transition from that time period. And it's okay to mourn, the old woman that you used to be. That's okay. And you have to start to learn how to give yourself that kind of time, because when we hold onto things, that's how we get resentful and angry, right? Like about certain things, or our minds can just go from 0 to 100 real quick with negativity. It can, but that's how we got to start acknowledging that, ever since I had this baby, I feel this way, and that's okay. But being honest, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to verbally say it. That could be you journaling it and writing it. I feel this way, right? I feel like I maybe miss my sleep, right? You could say something like that, or you can say, I keep going back to that relationship because I just feel this connection, even though I know it's not right. Like, say what it is. You need to learn how to get those feelings out there, because once you're able to get them out there, you've acknowledged them, right? You cannot heal what you've refused to deal with. And if you feel like it's coming up and it's trying to reveal itself, that means it's time for you to heal it so that you can mourn it, you can feel it, you can release it and let go. Then when it comes up again, you do the same process over and over. So you're pushing all that energy out, because when it stays in here, that's when we get to unworthiness. That's when we get into, I feel guilty about, doing this certain thing. I feel guilty for leaving him. He's a nice guy, but he's not for me. I feel guilty for leaving my kid, but I know I got to go to work, right? We hold it all in here and we're not letting it out. And then it begins to mess with where you now feel like you're guilty. You now feel like you're making mistakes. You now think something's wrong with you. And that goes into my fifth thing, is releasing and letting go of shame, and releasing and letting go of perfection, right? And that kind of goes back with acknowledging and feeling those negative emotions. Because guess what? Negativity is always going to pop up in life. There's always, even if you're thinking about God, and even in the world, there's good and evil. There's brightness and there's darkness. So there's always going to be something that pops up that you don't like. I had a situation pop up recently that's just very uncomfortable and annoying, right? But there's contrast that's in our lives, and as a result of that, the purpose is for you to evolve. There's always going to be lessons that pop up, and how are you learning and growing if stuff is not popping up to contrast where it is? And you also got to be careful, because sometimes distractions pop up, right, that you don't necessarily need. And right, and it's also growing that discernment to knowing what's a distraction versus what's here to actually heal you, evolve you, and growing you. But a worthy woman always knows that even if darkness pops up, if negativity pops up, if there's a contrast that pops up, that there's a solution, that God's going to turn it around, that there's a reason why it's here. There's something I need to learn, I need to grow, and now I can move on. And it obviously doesn't always happen that easily, but just saying there's a solution. There's a solution. There's a positive outcome. Something good is going to come to this. All things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. Just kind of having that on repeat, even if you need to record yourself saying it, or finding the audio on YouTube that has it. Listen to it every day until you see things shift and change. Stop thinking a one and done is going to work. I went to one counseling session, I'm good. I had one coaching call, I'm good. Probably not. There's some more work that goes into this worthiness work, right? I guess I would say that we have to do. So again, acknowledge and feel your negative emotions, and then kind of mourn them, grieve it, so then you can open up your space to something new. If you have, finally released and mourned and let go of the negativity, Now you can let peace in. You can let power in. You can let fierceness in. You can let confidence in. You can let bliss in. You can let joy in. But you can't do that when you hanging on to jealousy and envy and doubt and fear and worry, right? You're not allowing yourself the opportunity to let in confidence if you're constantly in doubt. Does that make sense? I hope it does, right? So then again, going to my last one, number 5, is letting go of shame and letting go of perfection. Because worthiness is all about this. I'm not enough, I'm lacking something, I don't, something's wrong with me. Or I'm too much, right? Or I got to have everything on point. I got to uphold this image. I got to be perfect. I can't let them see me sweat. It's kind of like it goes back and forth on these two different, I don't have enough or I'm doing way too much, and I can't stop doing way too much, because if I do, then they're going to think that I don't got it the way I'm portraying that I got it when I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses, but there really ain't no Joneses. That's the perfection and go up here. Then down here is the unworthiness and the shame, right? I'm ashamed of myself because because I'm 42, I still live at home, and my money is not together. That's where we get into the shame, the blame, and that energy is not the look, and that's unworthiness. But then that's also the other end of that is the perfection aspect, right? Everything has to look perfect. I gotta have the right man. He gotta look like this because my Facebook photos gotta be popping. I gotta have this degree, because if I don't got a degree, then I'm not gonna be able to keep up with my friends and what they're doing. So it kind of goes on the spectrum. Don't nobody got time for that. They don't, but some of us live in that every single day. Some of y'all been living in it for 5 years, for 10 years, 11 years, 27 years, a long time. So we got to learn how to let the shame go, right? So go back and get to the root of it. When did I first feel ashamed? Where is this coming from, right? And the same is true with the perfection. What are you trying to perfect? Who are you trying to look perfect for? Because the very people you're trying to look perfect for, what do they have to do with purpose? What do they have to do with your worthiness? The only person that you need to answer to is God, or whatever higher power that you have. So you're already made perfect in his image. Nobody's perfect. Name a perfect person for me. I'll wait. Okay, exactly. That's what I thought, right? There are no perfect women that just wake up and then boom, right? Her skin's glowing, this and that. So obviously, yes, they're magnetic, they're radiant, their skin and all that. But as I mentioned before, life is full of contrasts and similarities and differences. There's lightness, there's darkness. So it doesn't matter if you Beyonce, your husband can still cheat on you and let everybody know, right? It does not matter. You can be, and I had a call with somebody like a year ago, and she was like, wow, that really blew my mind, because she said, I thought Beyonce is just so beautiful and she has this life. Girl, she been over there probably suffering in silence for years and years and years. Because he out here doing doing whatever you don't even know. Nobody is exempt from the darkness or from, negativity popping up and occurring in their lives. So I think a lot of times we think, oh, okay, because people post certain things online that they don't have any negativity, that they're not crying. And you're thinking, okay, well, I had a miscarriage and it's just me that's dealing with this. I almost felt like I saw this in a Facebook group this past week, where somebody said, you know what, somebody did post that they had a miscarriage and they thought they were so alone, and then they did research and was like, this is crazy. This many people experience this all the time. Like, girl, yes. Right? I'm like, why do you think you're the only one? I think I thought when I was in college, and my boyfriend at the time, he had cheated on me. I think I thought, and he also, had said he had fathered a child by somebody else. I think that's when I first remember feeling shame. But I guess I thought the same thing, like, wow, why, like, I kept thinking, why does this have to be me? Why is this happening right now? And then after he told me that, it's like everywhere I go, everybody will be having the same issue, right? I think it's because it's brought into your awareness. And I was watching the TV shows, the show on BET at the time, and the characters had like the exact same situation. And then that's when I thought, wow, this is crazy. So I think a lot of times we think that we live in like this little bubble, and this is just happening to me. Like, God, why me? and we don't realize that there are other people, I guess, suffering or going through certain things as well. We might not know because people aren't saying it just because we live in here so much and everybody's not honest enough or even really brave or courageous enough or comfortable enough to share online. But absolutely, if you research it, trust me, you're going to find another woman who has came before you, and she had a bootleg relationship. She's had a miscarriage. She got married and she knows she shouldn't have. So she like, I don't know if I'm gonna do that again. Or she wanted to buy a house, but she had a struggle to get a house. She had a situation at work, or she wanted to step into purpose, but she was too afraid. You're going to find the stories. They're all around and they're all out here. And sometimes we need that as inspiration for us to keep going. That's why I know I love biographies. And I love movies that are, biopics, right? That have different people's lives. Because I just like to see, even though I know some stuff is fabricated, but it's just always, especially singers, I don't know why, it's just always fascinating to me to see their life and their ups and downs and how, the material that they create is, based off of their life. I was talking to my mom the other day and we really like Jill Scott, right? I don't know if you like Jill Scott, but anyway, she's going through a divorce. So we were joking, and we shouldn't have been, saying that like, oh, because she has a concert coming up, like her concert better be fire, her next album better be fire, since she just had a divorce, because we all know that pain births purpose. So we kind of joked about it, but in actuality there's a truth to it. Like even when I'm talking about the shame or the imperfection or the unworthiness, that can birth purpose for a lot of people, especially if that's something that you're struggling with. It can move you into a space of purpose. I was also thinking about Usher. I don't know where he at, but his album Confessions is like, I remember listening to it and I was like, this is kind of good. Like every song, that's rare for me. I usually don't like every song on somebody's album. But it was good because he had just cheated on somebody. And I know that's negative, but as a result of that negative experience, it produced something positive. It produced something into purpose. The same is true with Jay-Z and Beyonce. The reason why Lemonade and 444 is what it is, and now they have this new concert, is what? Their pain has been turned into purpose. It's the same thing. And that's why if we go back to 5 ways to feel more worthy, the number one thing, if we recap, is doing meaningful work and being in purpose. And sometimes to be in that space, that goes back to what I said. And number 4 is acknowledging and feeling your negative emotions. And that goes back into number 5 is releasing, shame and the perfection. We feel like we got to be perfect. We got to have it all together. We have to have stuff done at a certain age. And perfection is usually coming from society's views, your family's views, and what you're seeing on social media and around you is where the perfection is coming from. Or you feel like you got to be at a certain place to please people pleasers. To please, because I've been there before, to please other people, right? And sometimes you live in shame. And the reason why we live in shame is because we want everybody to think that we have this like perfect life going on, but secretly we feel ashamed about ourselves, even though other people think we're amazing and we're wonderful. But secretly we're feeling shame, and then nobody knows it, right? And that's also a very unhealthy place to be in. And that's also an unworthy place to be in. That can cause other negative behaviors to stem from that. So long story short, if you want to feel more worthy, do meaningful work and be in purpose, right? Purpose and worthiness are very much connected. Number 2, please get to know yourself better, right? What you like, what you don't like, right? What are all the amazing qualities about yourself? What are your values? What is your mission statement, right? Why are you here? Who are you? Right? If your husband is right next to you, who are you? Do you even know? Because there are people that are even married don't even know that, or don't even think they need to know that. But if you're going to be, uniting, coming together with somebody else, you need to know who you are. You need to know why you are here, preferably before you move to that next level of marriage, depending on where you are. So do meaningful work. Get to know yourself better. Take care of yourself, nurturing yourself, loving yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, even financially. Making sure you're taken care of, making sure you are profiting first. I just bought that book. It's called Profit First. Number 4 is acknowledging and feeling negative emotions, even when it's nasty and don't feel good. If you need to get away from people, go to your room, go to your car and cry. Go to the bathroom stall. do what you got to do to release and let go. Like I said, you got to learn how to grieve it, to mourn it. You know, it's a process, right? There's the death. There's that death part again. There's that releasing. There's the elimination, preparation, and then manifestation. Something's going to have to die away. And again, that don't always feel good. Tell me about it. And then lastly, let go of the shame of your lacking, right? Or something's wrong with you. Something's not right with you. You're ashamed of your past mistakes. Then that means you need some support. Or the perfection. That you're trying to keep up a certain image, or that you're too much. You're too much of something, right? They kind of shame, especially women of color, especially Black women, right? You're too angry. You're too aggressive. Or you're too hostile, right? They kind of use that little reverse stereotype psychology to kind of push us back to a different place, that you're coming across as too aggressive. You're coming across as too angry, too much, right? And again, that's going back to unworthiness, but sometimes it can be used in a negative way against you. So that's a whole different video. But anyway, those are the 5 ways that you can begin the process to feel more worthy. And as I mentioned earlier, worthiness is not about what you do and about the degrees that you have, about the type of purse that you rock in, about where you work at, where you get to park in a lot. When you get there, you got a special spot. I don't know. Worthiness is about who you are. It's about who you be. It's about who you know that you be, right? If you know you're the daughter of the Most High, there's value in that. There's worth in that. All right? There's value in it. It's worth, right? And if people are going to connect with you, that's going to cost them, right? You got to start charging people plus tax, plus shipping and handling if they gonna fool with you, knowing that if they gonna be your friend, they gonna collaborate with you for business, are you going to be my man? There is a cost for that, and not necessarily financial cost, but it is gonna cost them something because you're that valuable, right? You are that valuable that it's going to cost them, and not necessarily in a negative way. But it's going to cost, the right man for you. It's going to cost him to give you his time and his energy. That's going to cost him because you're so valuable and worthy. It's going to cost him his time and energy to show up and be fully present with you the way that you need him to, right? That's what I mean by it's going to cost him, right? He's going to have to show up in a new way because when you're in your worth and your value, you're going to require certain things, from the person you're in a relationship with. And as you increase your value, if you're already in a relationship, 2 things are going to happen. Either he's going to step up and meet you, or he's going to harmoniously pass you by. Meaning he's going to be like, I'm getting a little nervous because you're shifting. Or you're going to be like, I'm shifting and I don't know if this is right for me anymore. Right? Again, that does not always feel good. But you always, it goes back to that vibration and where you're vibing at, and your worthiness. It vibes at a certain level. So if you find you attractive, certain relationships, certain situations over and over again. I know I say this all the time, but it's true. You might want to check that worthiness. You might want to check that vibe. Because that determines who's showing up and how they're showing up in your life. And that is important. Okay. All right. So I hope that you have found this valuable. If you're catching this as a replay or a video, feel free to leave me a comment and let me know. Don't forget the 1-year anniversary of Born Fierce is approaching. Born Fierce, How to Unleash the Confident Woman Within. It is available on Amazon. You can go to unleashyourfierce.com/book to get your copy, and it will walk you through a lot of the things that I share here today more deeply, the book and the free workbook, companion workbook that goes along with it. In and of itself is a worthy small investment that can give you a big return on your investment as it helps you unleash the fierce confidence about yourself. So again, I hope that you have enjoyed. Leave me a comment. Let me know. Make sure you are following me on Facebook, on Instagram at Unleash Fierce, as well as YouTube, which is bit.ly/FierceTV, so that we can be connected all over the internet. And I look forward to connecting with all of you again soon. Bye.